Jim Jones, you could do better, brother. I love you too much. I love you too much to not be honest with you. Rick Ross, you could do better, brother. Meek Mill, you could do better, brother. I love you too much not to be honest with you. Are you the face of prison reform? Cause are you the face of prison reform? Or are you sitting here on your new song with Ross talking about getting somebody murked and shot at the red light? Which one is it, bro? Which one is it, bro? Because I did a shoe giveaway in my city and gave out 1,300 pairs of your shoes because they said reform underneath them. And I love that you partnered with a major shoe company and you out here pushing prison reform. But now I got to sit here like, man, this man glorifying getting people killed as of a week ago. Like, what are you doing, bro? Lil Snoop really got killed. That broke your heart. You wear him around your neck. Why are you glorifying the same thing when my best friend got killed? When Carl got killed, New Orleans know who I'm talking about. When Carl got killed and I had to go to his funeral and read the eulogy and be part of the funeral, and I got back in my causeway after the funeral, and I turned on my music, and I realized I'm listening to music that's glorifying the same stuff that just happened to my best friend. It gave me chills, and I needed that moment. That was my come to Jesus moment.
And rapping about things that could get you locked up, and then saying you about prison reform. Like, bro.
Meek Mill, you could do better. Jim Jones, you could do better. Rick Ross, you could do better. I gotta see you do better. Wait. Little man, whoever you is, until you feed the kids where you from for 20 years straight. Don't question Rose. Wait. Until you buy 10,000 bikes, 10,000 trikes. Give all the young girls who pregnant Pampers for Christmas for 20 years straight. Don't question boss.
Miss me with the rhetoric about what I do in my music. I get money off my music. Don't tell me how to make my dollars. You gotta watch whose names you mentioning out here. You heard?
Yeah.
Because my little cousin might not like how you mention my name. You heard? And then he might want to slap a dread out your head just because he don't understand that you using my name for fame and he don't understand that. And they act like having common sense is controversial. Some of the things I say is common sense, bro. Somebody told me, oh, you controversial. I'm about to interview you, but you a controversial dude. A lady in New York at a media outlet just told me that. I said, what's so controversial about me saying that glorifying the murder of our people in your music, especially when you're not living that type of life? What's controversial about saying that that's not healthy for our community? Pushing dope to our people is a difference between narration of the life you used to live and glorification, as if you're still doing that and you're still about that energy. And I'm controversial? Really? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it, but I won't be tricked out of thinking that I'm doing something wrong when I know I have no hatred towards anybody. Artist you name, Ryan, any other artist, I have no hatred. But we're to the point now where evil has an excuse, and it's called entertainment.
Yet and still, many of these artists are very wealthy. Not a single institution has come from hip-hop in 50 years. Am I supposed to ignore that? Am I supposed to act like these young brothers out here who pushing death and destruction, sexual exploitation and miscegenation of black women, these young brothers who out here pushing drug selling, going to jail, and everything possibly illegal to children, I'm supposed to believe that this was a blessing to the black community when you brainwashing our kids, and on top of the brainwash, on top of the toxic content, you don't even come back to the community and do anything good for it except give out some damn turkeys and sneakers. Are you kidding me?
I am so glad this Dee1 versus Rick Ross versus Meek Mill versus Jim Jones situation happened. I am so glad it happened because it is showing people, anyone who's paying attention, that at this point in time, you have to pick a side. You're either on the side with Christ and righteousness, or you're on the side with these individuals. There is no more straddling the fence. There is no more, well, hip-hop is cool and it's not what I would like it to be, but, no. It is, a side must be picked. You're either going to stand on the side of righteousness or you're going to stand on the side of evil. Because there's no more playing dumb. There's no more acting like you don't know what's happening. There's no more acting like you don't know what's going on. It's very clear now. When you hear individuals like Jim Jones say, hey, this is how I'm making money. When you hear guys like Rick Ross, who literally stole his name from an actual drug dealer who was named Rick Ross, literally stole someone's name and put on a fake persona as if that's what he was really about. In songs talk about he knows the real Pablo and the real Noriega. Like the astronomical lies. And the just mythological pretending of one's identity, like it's insane. I can promote violence, death, and destruction, even though I know that's not what I'm really about. Because I'm making money. Because I give away turkeys and bikes and toys on Christmas. That excuses my behavior. Enough is enough. You're either with them or you're on the side with Christ. There is no more straddling the fence. I can understand having grace and compassion for youngsters. You know, these teens and these 20-somethings that's out here making the music that they're making and living the lives that they're living. They were misguided, they were misled, and they are young. I can understand maybe giving some of them some grace. But these dudes in this situation, all these guys are over 30. Some of them are over 40. They got gray in their beard. Still pretending to be something that truthfully, most of them never actually were. Like, we got to be real. Meek Mill was never this super tough gangster ever in his life. None of these guys were. These guys grew up in hood environments. They may have gotten into some fights. They may have sold weed or maybe a little bit of cocaine on a very small scale. They may have joined a gang. But in terms of moving weight, in terms of committing murders and being hitmen and running blocks in neighborhoods, they didn't do any of those things. Any of those things. Truth be told, they had very little involvement. And they started rapping about what the main guys were actually doing. They gained popularity and notoriety from it. And the stories that they're telling are not things that they've ever actually done. And what they do is they insulate themselves and circle themselves around with the individuals who actually have done those things. So not only are they selling poison to the youth, but they're telling the youth things that they actually have not done. Individuals who actually do those things, you know where they end up. Like A.R. Ab was somebody in Philly who was actually doing those things. That's what leads to you getting 30 and 40 years in federal prison. When you're actually doing what Meek Mill is rapping about. Listen, these individuals have to understand that, you know what? It is not our fault that you took on the identity and bought into a false version of masculinity, and you decided to create your entire identity and revolve your entire life around a false sense of masculinity that destroys everything around you, and oftentimes including yourself. It is not our fault that you took that on, found a way to make a name and some clout and some money off of it, and now you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, and you don't know how to take it off. That's not our problem. It is not our problem that you don't know how to forge an identity for yourself outside of a fake gangster, fake tough guy persona. That's your problem. And it is time that, once again, people now have to pick a side. If you listening to the music, you're over there. If you're interviewing these people, you're over there. If you want to co-sign from these people, you're over there. If you want these people to use and promote your products and services, you are over there. If you want to go to the concerts and buy the merch and get a co-sign from them, you are over there with them. A line in the sand has to be drawn. If you're a law-abiding citizen talking about snitching, over there. If you're sitting around saying, well, they did this and that, and here's another thing. I'm tired of you, but he getting money though people. All you but he getting money though people, y'all got to go. Because y'all will justify all types of destructive behavior because he getting money though. I know he sold poison to his people and perpetrated a lie that led a lot of young people down the wrong path, but he getting money though. No. Enough of that. Time is up for that. All these individuals have done is use black people for their own personal gain. For the entire time. When they were in the streets, committing the acts, doing all the things that they were doing in the streets, that was for their personal gain, and they didn't care about how it negatively impacted anybody else. Then, when they got rich and famous, and they started making music, and started over-exaggerating their level of involvement in the streets, they didn't care who they were influencing. They didn't care what negative impact it was going to have on the community. It was all about what they wanted, what they could gain. And here's the most craziest part. The moment that now it's time for RICO charges, that now it's time for jail, that now you're getting followed and harassed by the police, that now the record labels are not paying you what they're supposed to pay you. Now all of a sudden they down for the people. Now all of a sudden they an activist now. Now all of a sudden they love black folk. Their entire life has been about using whoever they needed to use to get whatever they could get. But the moment they're in the jam, now all of a sudden they Malcolm X, and they know about racism, and they know about criminal justice reform, and they down for the people, and they loves blacks peoples. At every single turn, these people find a way to use. All they do is use. All they do is take. Enough of them. Once again, I'm talking about the ones that's 35, 40. There's no excuse. I'm not talking about the youngsters right here. Some of them are redeemable, but if you listen, enough is enough. When you was rapping about what you was rapping about, and doing what you was doing, and promoting you and what you was promoting, and getting all the money, and doing all the tours, and drinking all the liquor, and sleeping all the women, and putting all the money on your Instagram. And you didn't care who was being negatively impacted. You didn't care who was being hurt, who you were lying to and negatively influencing. You didn't care about any of that. When you were paying those guys to stay around you, you didn't care what they were using the money for inside of the community. But the moment you get in trouble with law enforcement, now all of a sudden, now you want to play the race card. Now you down with the people. Now we got to reform the system. It's all about us black people when you need something. Then the moment you get what you can get out of it, you're back to rapping and doing what you've been doing the entire time. These people, man, like I said, man, you got to pick a side. Things are getting so out of hand now. Things are getting so left in black America, well, in America overall, and the culture overall, and society overall, that now if you say, hey, you're promoting, engaging in, and continuing things that are clearly destructive to not just black society, but society overall. If you call that out, it's something wrong with you. It's not enough people saying that Rick Ross is wrong, that Meek Mill is wrong, that Jim Jones is wrong, that all these over 40-something guys pretending to be something that they never really were. There's nothing wrong with them. No, if you call them out, it's something wrong with you. That's why it's time to pick a side. It's time to pick a side because we have now reached a point where if you call out evil, if you call out wrong, it's something wrong with you for calling it out. This is why I say you got to pick a side, because you got so many, man, you got so many people who want to justify, who want to cape up, who want a white knight, like a Joe Budden.
You'll learn the way other people learn, that you can't just talk about people. I'm telling you, as somebody that knows the history of the people that you speaking about, leave niggas alone. Especially niggas that will shoot your Christian ass.
Throwing on a cape. Talking about, oh yeah, you gotta be careful, because they'll really shoot you. Joe Budden know daggone well that these dudes ain't never shot nobody. He knows this. Why is he lying? He's lying. He knows good and well Jim Jones, Meek Mill, Rick Ross have never shot anybody. They are rappers, 40-year-old rappers. They are performers. At this point, Black America, there's a decision that has to be made. Either you're going to choose the side of righteousness, or you're going to continue to perpetrate this false narrative, this false image of masculinity. You got a decision to make. Are you going to continue to pretend as if these fake tough guys are an actual standard for masculinity in Black America? Are you going to continue to go along and to get along? Are you going to continue to play along with the game? That's the question you have to ask and answer for yourself. Who's going to stand up and say, you know what, man, this has all been a farce. This has all been a game. This has all been a lie. Because at a certain point, we got to be honest and say, look, the street dude, nobody is more comfortable living off of other men than the quote-unquote street dude. Let me say that again. No other group of men are more comfortable living off of another man than the street dude. How many times have you seen street dudes who they supposed to be brothers, they supposed to be boys, but now they want to go online and they quote-unquote expose their quote-unquote brother? Why? He didn't look out. He didn't reach back. He didn't put me on. He didn't do this for me. He didn't do that for me. These are grown males with no real skills, no real talents, no morals, no principles, no abilities. And they spend their entire lives looking for people around them that they can use and take advantage of for their own personal gain. And this is what we've adopted as a standard of masculinity and manhood in Black America, and it needs to die. That fake image needs to die. It's all fake. There's a reason why all of these quote-unquote tough guys got to walk around with 5, 10, 15 dudes around them every single day. They're scared. They're putting out an image that they can't live up to. They're putting out an image that they can't back up. They've said all these things that they're about and all these things that they'll do, and they can't live up to it. They can't back it up. So they got to pay dudes to stand around them all day. What grown men you know that's really masculine can't go to the store, can't go here, can't go there without a bunch of people around them? Like I say, man, I'm so glad this happened. I'm so glad more people are speaking up. I'm so glad more people are waking up. Because these people are leeches, unprincipled, uncultured, unproductive leeches on everybody around them, on the entire community. All they've done is mislead the youth, drag down the image of black men, drag down the image of black women. That's all they've done. They've done nothing positive for black America or society overall at all. All they do is take. It's time for y'all to stop giving these individuals respect that they have never earned.
I said, what's so controversial about me saying that glorifying the murder of our people in your music, especially when you're not living that type of life? What's controversial about saying that that's not healthy for our community? Pushing dope to our people is a difference between narration of the life you used to live and glorification, as if you're still doing that and you're still about that energy. And I'm controversial? Really? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it, but I won't be tricked out of thinking that I'm doing something wrong when I know I have no hatred towards anybody. Artist you name, Ryan, any other artist, I have no hatred. But we're to the point now where evil has an excuse, and it's called entertainment.